Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tribus Sonata channel, and in today's video we'll be talking about whether music is a universal language of mankind. But before we do that, please do make sure you drop a like in this video if you do enjoy it, and smash the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, as we are still in the early stages and every like and every comment means a lot to us. Whether you agree or disagree with my opinion today, please do drop a comment down below and let me know. It'll be interesting to see all of your thoughts. And in our channel we post a bunch of contents from podcasts to scores and explaining videos such as this one, with some topics more controversial than others. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. For hundreds of centuries, music has played a vital part in human life. Early evidence of written music indicate that it was used for religious purposes and helped followers communicate with their deity. However, as time progressed, an increasing amount of music was written for public performances, with composers often writing to express themselves and push the boundaries of the so-called traditional music. The emotional nature of music means that it can be played and listened to by anyone. Hence the reason why the American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote that music is the universal language of mankind. Nearly 200 years later, this statement is now widely recognized and accepted by many musicians. However, to what extent can we actually agree to a statement? In my opinion, in order to answer this question, we would need to determine the definition of two things. Firstly, the definition of being universal and what qualifies as being a language. In the modern society, words are an essential part of music, such as pop and rock music, with the recent rise in the popularity of hip-hop music being even more word-based than ever before. However, it is not the words that make music a language, but rather how it allows people to communicate with each other and express oneself, which is the ultimate role of a language. As a musician, the different qualities of sound that I am able to make on an instrument allows me to express myself differently every time I make music, even if it is the same piece. Musical qualities such as timbre, tone, dynamics, and tempo choices allow me to have different interpretations every time. Even though you can also change the meaning of something you say by alternating the accents, stresses, and the speed in a spoken language, the variety of choices in which you can express yourself in is nowhere near as great as the choices in music. Therefore, I believe that music is a language beyond words based on the fact that it has a larger boundary for expression than the normal written and spoken language. However, is music really universal as Longfellow has stated? Longfellow lived in the Romantic period of Western classical music, which means that most of the music written during his lifetime was extremely emotional and passionate, as suggested by the name of the period. For example, Frédéric Chopin once said that he wrote music to express the soul and the heart of a man, while Gustav Mahler dedicated his life to writing 9 symphonies that illustrated life. Tchaikovsky wrote his 6th symphony to describe his melancholy, as he was secretly homosexual, which was not permitted at the time. Some even saw his 6th symphony as a suicide note, as he died a week after it was premiered, with the reason of his death unknown. There are of course plenty of other examples, such as Shostakovich's 8th string quartet. We can also see the presence of romanticism in Longfellow's poems, such as The Village Blacksmith and A Psalm of Life, as Longfellow had experienced depression following the death of his wife and rejection from another woman. Although Longfellow never elaborated on his quote, I think it's fair to assume that Longfellow thought that music was a universal language due to its emotional nature. Music allows people to express their emotions, with some even arguing that it offers more channels of communication compared to words. An example being Danish author Hans Christian Andersen, who once said that, "Where words fail, music speaks." As previously mentioned, music can be played and listened to by anyone, with the large variety of musical styles being easily accessible in this globalized society. In a recent Harvard University study, data was gathered from 315 different cultures from over a century's worth of music, which concluded that pieces of music with similar meanings behind it all has similar musical features, such as tempo, tonality, dynamics, and ornamentation. The research concluded that music is in fact universal, as certain types of musical qualities are used to trigger a certain response from a person psychologically. For example, if a person from China was listening to tango music from South America, they will recognize that it is a dance due to its minor tonality and rhythm. Hence, to a certain extent, music is universal in the fact that it can be accessed by everyone, and people often have a brief idea of the music's mood due to the similarities of musical qualities between music written all around the world, despite the different cultural backgrounds. However, the fact that we can produce such a vast amount of different sounds means that music is open to many personal interpretations. All performers of music have different interpretations of a piece, and they're often influenced by their personal experiences, leaving each interpretation open for debate. The most successful performers succeed because they are the ones who have the most relatable interpretations. An example can be found in Rachmaninoff piano concerto recordings, where there are some interpretations, such as Lang Lang's interpretation, which is extremely extravagant and flamboyant, which shows his determination of success and desire of spotlight, while others, such as Lugansky, is quite humble together with the orchestra and shows simplicity as beauty. After all, music is not as prescriptive as words, and its ambiguity allows people to have different feelings towards the same piece and even the same performance. It's this ambiguity that allows the performer to create an enormous variety of sound qualities to express themselves in. Ultimately, there's no right or wrong answer in music. Music is whatever a person feels it is. Some people look for authenticity in performances, where the performer strives to make the performance sound as close to what the composer intended, and others just want to express their feelings. Moreover, there are many different cultures and genres of music, just like languages and arts. Every country has its own culture of music, and in most countries, there are even more than one style of music. In modern musical culture, there's an estimated of 1,264 different genres of music. Music is often a part of a region's culture. Although the Harvard University study found that the most music with the similar moods have similar musical qualities, people who do not know the context behind a piece or its cultural backgrounds will find it difficult to understand the meaning of the piece beyond simple emotions such as happy and sad. Also, the definition of music is not a subject that is dependent on one's opinion. The American composer John Cage composed a piece called 433, where a performer goes on stage and remains silent for exactly 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Although it was completely silent, this was a revolutionary idea for the musical world. Can silence be music? If not, why not? Based on the fact that the world can't even agree what music is, could we still validly state that music is indeed universal? After all, music is not only compared to languages. Music is often compared to arts, maths, and the literature aspect of language. For instance, Impressionism in arts inspired composers such as Debussy and Ravel, who created new sound worlds for music, as they often focused on the atmosphere in their music. Baroque violinist Rachel Podger also described the motion of bowing the violin like stroking with a paintbrush. The fundamental basics of music are essentially based on maths. For example, note values are made in a mathematical system where each note of increasing value of length is double or triple the last. Furthermore, musical intervals are based on the ratios of sound frequencies, which helps harmonize notes and makes the sound more pleasant to the human ear. Literature is also an enormous influence on music, as composers often convey their feelings towards literature into music. Examples include Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare being converted into an overture and a ballet by Tchaikovsky and Prokofiev respectively, as well as Franz Liszt writing his third Liebesdrama based on the German poem O Lieb, solange du Leben kannst by Fregraf, and portraying the power of love in terms of music instead of words. Although music may not be universal, in today's increasingly globalized society, many musical cultures are being heavily influenced by popular Western music, such as pop and hip-hop music. Some examples are Chinese pop and Indian hip-hop. Globalization has brought the world together in numerous ways, and musical culture is certainly no different. However, as Western musical styles continue to spread around the world, music may be closer than ever to becoming universal, which raises the concern that some less popular musical cultures may face the threat of extinction, especially folk music. In conclusion, I agree with Longfellow's quote to a small extent. I think that music is a language beyond words. However, I do not think that music is universal, because music is largely based on interpretations and opinions. Also, music has different cultures, and without context, a person would find it difficult to understand it beyond simple emotions. Despite that, in today's society, music around the world is influenced enormously by the Western culture, and one day music may truly be universal. Whether different cultures of music will be preserved in the future may be an increasingly concerning problem. That sums up the video for today. Whether you agree or disagree with my opinions, please let me know down in the comment section down below. I'll also link my bibliography in the description down below, and in fact this is actually one of the projects that I've recently done for my school essay competition. I do not take all the credit of my opinions because some of them I have found online. Some videos are actually very helpful and more in depth if you really want to go into this topic. So if you guys have enjoyed today's video, please make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. Again, every comment and like really do mean a lot to us at this stage. And that sums up our video for today, and until next time, stay safe, save the NHS.